I'm bringing up Steffaney Zohrabyan. You got to tell me how close I got on this one. I'm pretty sure, did I say it right?
Perfect.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I told you I was going to try and commit it to memory before we went live. So for those of you who may not, although I don't know, you're a pretty familiar face on social media. I know I recognize, as soon as I saw you on the list, I go, I know who that is. I'm looking forward to this conversation. But you're the Sales Enablement Innovation, the DAP Queen, as far as I know, and Insights Leader at Cisco. So I'm looking forward. You're talking about microlearning for sales enablement, right? Is that our topic for this?
Absolutely. But one thing that's great is that because it's such a great framework with microlearning, I feel like it could be very agnostic for different learners. So even if you're not in sales enablement, don't worry.
Well, and honestly, sales enablement, I've led sales enablement. It's kind of synonymous. It's one of those like commercial functions. They call themselves something different. It's like, the principles are very similar. So I'm looking forward to your talk. I'm going to leave you on stage. You get to present everybody. Round of emojis for Steffaney. She's going to share with us her wisdom, and then I will be back to let you know when your time is coming up, and then you get to participate in the magic next time. So I will see you on the other side.
Great. Let me just pull this up. All right. So thank you all so much. That was too early, but I'm Steffaney Zohrabyan. Again, I work at Cisco. I work in the Sales Enablement and Innovation and Insights team. And I was brought into Cisco because I have a very particular set of skills in supporting sellers within the flow of their work. I work for companies like T-Mobile for Business, Robert Half International, Lending Club, Sprinkler, PTC, lots of companies to make sure that the new employee experience that is kind of on the screen now, not so much in an office, is done very well and it's very effective. So the first poll I want to do is, what type of learners do you support? And Chris, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't really see data coming in, but do you want to let me know what everybody's picking?
Just for you, I will come back on stage because I'm sharing it, and I will give you a breakdown of where we're landing. So as it stands right now, we got about, it's moving fast here, but we got about a 18% in sales. We got 10% leadership, 19 ops, 25 enterprise-wide, 5% deskless, and 25% other.
Wow, that's a lot of others.
That is a lot of others. That is a lot of other.
Go ahead and put in the chat the other. I'm very interested.
I'm curious to see what that one is.
I love seeing so many deskless people supporting the deskless workforce. My brothers own home health companies, and they create content all the time for individuals who are on the front line as physical therapists and nurse practitioners. Again, my journey is in sales, but this is very agnostic for different types of people. I'm glad to see some sales in here. I was doing a conference on change management last month, and there was zero sales. It was all like operations or leadership. So it's great to see that there's some salespeople here. I live by the motto that enablement is best served within the flow of work. With everything changing, the employee experience is on the screen. It's just different now. I have an incredible director at Cisco named Cameron Tanner, who came to us from Amazon, and he actually recruited me into the role. And he really believed that enablement should be it should be fast and it should be done within the flow of work. He just really understands the fact that we don't have this going to the office and learning by osmosis and being able to really understand and learn by the best performer that sits next to us or the low performer to our left, but really being able to impact them on the screen. And there's a reason why I put McDonald's on here, because I want to know everyone's first job. And Chris, you can come up while I tell a story real quick. If it's fast food, gardening, we have people from all over the world here, which is really exciting. So I'd love to know what your first job is. If you pick other, go ahead and put that in the chat. I personally just celebrated my 20th anniversary in the workforce this year. When I was 14 years old, I drove with my brothers up to the McDonald's in Gulf Breeze, Florida. Anybody here from Florida? And I got my first job at the McDonald's, and it was so intense. It was just a lot. Like I didn't have any skills as a 14-year-old. I guess I could read, but I'd never had any tactical work experience. But Chris, what is everybody saying about their first job?
So first job, we've got about a 23% breakdown in fast food. Wow, this is moving fast. 25 in babysitting, only 3% in lawn care. Well, a fair amount of tutors, around 5%, and 50% in other. We've got other dominating yet a second poll.
I know. I need to find out what those are so I can start including that when I ask people about their first job. But McDonald's was my journey. And one thing that I remember is sitting in the back room in the lunchroom. It was cold. I was in my uniform that didn't fit right. And I was going through all this video, watching all these videos about what it meant to be an employee at McDonald's, sitting and doing even a bunch of e-learning courses. And at the time for 2002, I felt like it was pretty good. They had like drag and drop features. I was putting things in bags. But then came the second half of the day and they put me in the back of this grill. And if you look, this is exactly what it looks like. It hasn't changed. Maybe this is a picture from 2002. I have no idea. I went to my neighborhood McDonald's to see if I could take a picture to see if these little images that I'm going to point out were still there. And they asked me to leave. But basically, when I got there, I was terrified. And I remembered learning about what it took to make a hamburger, what it took to make a Big Mac. But I couldn't remember exactly. And I saw the screen light up and it said a Big Mac. And I looked over at the bun toaster and I was so relieved because it had these little cards that said, for a Big Mac, use this bun. For a quarter pounder, use this bun. And all of a sudden I knew what bun to use. Then I slid down a little bit and it said, okay, there was another little card that said special sauce. So I put on the special sauce, which is just Thousand Island, by the way. Don't sue me. Then I slid down a little bit further and I saw this one that you see here, which is like, okay, onions first, then pickles, then lettuce, put the bun, slid down meat. And it was really incredible in the fact that I was able to learn so fast because I had these little cards in front of me. When they needed somebody at the fry station, they literally had the exact same content right above the fry station, just little cards, almost like cue cards to let you know. And I mean, we all have opinions about the fast food industry and McDonald's in general, but I have to admit this is a pretty effective training technique of learning within the flow of work to have these little micro learning cards all over. And I'm not going to say that inspired me to go the route I am. But I do look back at that and think, wow, I was able to learn every role at McDonald's so fast. And this kind of leads me to my little laws of micro learning within the flow of work. I want it to be accessible. I want it to be faster, easier, and everywhere. I want it to be engaging. I want it to be customizable. And I want it to be very collaborative. So we're working with managers. We're working with the people on the field to understand what brings value to them. I'm going to dive a little bit more into these. What I mean by faster, and again, Kate just mentioned like, oh, do we just cut up a course? No, because it's within the flow of work, you're really able to determine at this point in time, this is the piece of information that somebody needs. That's it. 30 seconds and we're done. And even I tell people this today, 30-second videos, that's all. 30 seconds, I need to be able to read it and be done and know what's next, or I'm not doing it. And people just are clutching their pearls. They're just aghast at the fact that I would say that their 10-minute video can't be put within the flow of work. But that's my law. I want it to be easier. I want them to click one button. How many people can find anything in their LMS? Can you find anything in another enablement platform? It is so hard. And I feel like I'm pretty good at this. And then I want it to be across every single part of their technology. Every single platform they touch, I want Inflow to be a part of that. And for engaging, the whole point is that you have to become a trusted source of value. A seller, an ops manager, everyone in your company needs to know that when they see a little button on the screen or when they see a little icon, that means that there's micro-learning available. They need to know that that's valuable for them. So know that it's for them. Know that it will help them reach their goal. Kind of answer that so what question. And then most importantly, it is going to make them better at their job. So they're going to be able to perform whatever step they're at in their process better with this help than if they had just gone and done their own thing. In terms of being customizable, this is really important for global companies. And I think that the first speaker spoke so well about this in saying, you know, we need to make sure that things are in the right language. In another life, I was a French translator. It was my only skill coming out of college as a theater major because I volunteered in France and Belgium for 1.5 years. But we have to make sure that things are very specific to their region they're in, very specific to the industry, and very specific to different products they want to sell. So creating content 30 seconds or less that's valuable, and it's valuable mainly because a seller in Singapore who sells enterprise-wide products, they're going to know that that's for them. A small, medium business seller from Cincinnati is going to know that that button on the screen is for them. And I'm so excited. I use a digital adoption platform that's able to decipher the different types of user that's on the screen. So it knows it's somebody in Singapore. It knows it's an SMB seller in Cincinnati. And we're able to create customizable content that's pushed to them. So that's pushed to them perfectly. And then collaborative. This is the biggest thing. I felt like early in my career as an instructional designer, I never talked to the front line. I was, kind of an order taker for strategists or for the deployment team who was deploying new software. And I didn't ask questions. I just thought, I'm sure they know what's best. But as a practitioner and definitely as a strategist, you have to talk with the field. And not only do you have to talk with the field, but you want the field to be talking to each other. Without this osmosis in the field, it's so hard for them to know who's doing the best things or who's closing the biggest deals. But one thing I even like to do within the flow of work is say, hey, this person did this process and they closed the biggest deal in Cisco history for saying, we want very industry specific solutions. So for your market in Singapore, hospitality and tourism is such a big thing. Here are solutions you can sell for hospitality and tourism, kind of promoting and having them opt in to these great solutions that's for them. We also want to feature innovators. Cisco's going through one of the biggest transformations in history. We're going from basically being a network and switch sellers and hardware sellers to becoming software sellers. It's why I came to Cisco. It's why I'm excited to do my work every day. And it's so important that we're able to feature and highlight and put a spotlight on individuals who are really, really doing something new. And of course, okay, I'm sure the chat is blowing up with my I promise there's a T at the end of spotlight. Go ahead and put that in the chat. I won't read it, but you can correct my spelling in the chat. But we want to make sure that we're highlighting leaders as well. We want to say this team is doing the best, and this leader is really driving success among their teams by doing this. So even putting leadership stories within the flow of work. And 7 Taps is so good at this. It doesn't have to be a 10-minute video. It can be 7 clicks to learn all about this success story from this team sitting in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, or something like that. And I have my last poll. And Chris, this is a new one I put in there. But I want to know how many platforms your learners touch on a daily basis. Is it less than 5, 6 to 10? Full disclosure, I don't know that I've ever worked for a company who has had a tech stack under 20. I would say probably the biggest one I've ever seen is like 32, where literally they're a seller or their learner is touching 32 different platforms a day. But Chris, what are the people saying? If you're able to come back.
Yeah, no, of course I am. Anything for you, Steffaney. So right now we've got about 31% that are less than 5, 37% are 5 to 10, 23 or 11 to 15, only 2% in the 60 to 20, and 9 at the 20 plus.
Okay. It's pretty well dispersed, and every organization is different, especially if you're especially if you're supporting deskless employees. But again, I support probably around 20 right now. And the whole point is that it needs to be everywhere, which is what we're working on here at Cisco. But now I feel like you kind of want to see some of the examples. So I want to show you a solution we're doing at Cisco. Basically, the current state is, 10-page PDFs with playbooks that live somewhere in our sales engagement platform. Or videos or e-learning courses. I wanted to put this in the flow of work, and I put right here by their pipeline, I put a little playbook. And this is built with This is built with a digital adoption platform, WalkMe, and all it is a button that says, here's your playbook. What do you want to do? Do you want to look at your renewed dollars, upsell, try and get a new logo? And it literally, within 2 clicks, it literally takes them to their pipeline. I'm not allowed to show you anything here. But then it gives them, within just a matter of clicks or within a matter of taps, it gives them everything they need to know about working that pipeline for renewed. So again, really, really simple. We're able to customize this. So if we wanted to make sure that somebody in EMEA and Europe is able to, if they wanted new logos in Europe, and that was a big push, we can make sure that they're starting to look at new logos. So really, a really great way to drive awareness and kind of give them that opt-in choice. So they're not forced to do it, but they get to opt in. One thing that this also shows me is that large scale organizational change does not need to have hours and hours of training. I think that it's really important to have, initial like conversations and a great communication and change management strategy. But, once you do an e-learning course, there's absolutely no guarantee that you can execute it on your screen. So it's just really great to be able to know that I can encourage them to do this on the screen. Another thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to show collaboration. And we have a gentleman who's in charge of our hybrid work solutions here named G2. And I wanted to put on very specific accounts that are good for our hybrid work solutions, G2's playbook based on what he gave us in a recent video. So instead of having to go to watch this video, we have a little button on the screen that shows how G2 does hybrid work. They're able to click through lots of different solutions, lots of different options, about three clicks or so. It's going kind of slow, but then we tell them the action point. We say, so what? And we say, for hybrid work solutions, you need to know the head of HR at your account. Do you know the head of HR? Most people don't. Again, hardware company, we work with the head of IT, the head of facilities, but we're trying to get them to find the head of HR. So what we do is we take them straight to another platform, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We're able to take them straight there. We're able to automate a search that already selects the human resources leader, their seniority level, and then we just tell them to pick an account. And again, I love this because G2 is right there on the screen showing them how to do it. I always like to search for T-Mobile. That was one of my last companies. Tells them to highlight, find the head of HR, and invite them to their next customer meeting. And then it gives them a template message that they can send out. So basically just, again, letting them know what's next. It's helping them do it better than they might have done it, find it faster, and do it right when they were looking at their account and thinking about how they can improve or maybe upsell to that account. And again, one click away. They didn't have to go searching for that video. They didn't have to watch a 27-minute video that G2 gave. It was right there on the screen. Another thing, so this is one of my first solutions I made. I was at Robert Half International, and we wanted to put little playbooks on the screen to help get more permanent placement. And I wanted it to kind of look like a choose your own adventure type thing. This was still in Salesforce Lightning, by the way. I think they were one of the last companies to move to Salesforce. They were in Salesforce Classic, and it took a while to get there. But you can see just one click away, they get to choose their own adventure. It automates steps for them. And then they're able to get, word tracks. So that template, that very customizable piece of content that they can send out to candidates to get them. They can save the search for future use. And it looks kind of fun. It's still something that I look at it today and I'm like, man, like I liked that back in 2019, didn't I, before the world ended? Another thing that you can see is kind of making those mundane tasks very successful. And one thing that I like to do is, again, have this button up here to do prospecting, make it very customizable. The seller gets to pick a solution. This is for sales development reps. They get to pick whatever product they want to try and sell for that day. Oh, am I running over?
No, I was going to let you know that you were showing the wrong tab on your slide. So I've been trying to follow along, but now I'm not sure I'm showing the right one. So, because somebody's asking, is that the right presentation? And I'm like, I think so. But now that you're talking, I'm not sure that I am.
Should I try and share it again?
Yeah, you try and share it. Cause I was really close and then I lost you.
Okay, let me try and share that again. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Hey, I was doing it behind the scenes because I didn't want to distract you. But then I was like, no, I think I'm on the wrong one now.
All right. Am I?
There you go.
Okay. I'm so sorry, everyone. So now we're in Sales Navigator.
There we go.
And okay, here we go. So we're able to select the product that we want to prospect to. This is something that SDRs, they don't like prospecting. It's hard. It's probably one of the hardest jobs in sales, I think. And so what I did is I took their cool manager, Reese. She was from Denmark. She had like a different color hair every week. She was so cool. And I said, Reese is going to be your guide through this. And we were able to use WalkMe to go in and automate searches. We were able to take them to searches that already had like 60 search criteria selected. So they knew that they were able to, they knew that they had all the information to find the perfect prospect. And they, oh, I did it again. And they just had to enter into the company. Just had to enter in the company, really giving them the so what there. And one thing that we saw was that our SDRs, there was only about 70 of them, but we had 775 searches in just one quarter. So we were able to measure who was engaged with this, who was using our tool. The sales team had never seen that many searches. Basically, that means that every seller was, 77 times 10. Basically, they had run 10 of these searches within a quarter. And we also saw that it saved each SDR 15 minutes from having to search manually or follow a Excel spreadsheet to know what to search for different products and different levels of their company. And not only that, but we were able to really track it. And this is the most important thing. We were able to show the measurement and the success at the end of the quarter on how many more sales qualified leads we had. And we found that it actually rose from 12 sales qualified leads to 15 sales qualified leads just in one quarter. So that's 3 more sales qualified leads for each SDR. So really incredible. And the thing about sales is that, that's when they get paid. So you're really helping not just them be more efficient and help them save time, but you're helping them, get more of their compensation. Another thing that's really important is really just to have kind of this resource library on the screen for our sellers. You could see how 7 taps would be such a great solution for this. If you wanted to watch a quick video, right now it was a 2-minute video. Back when I did it, again, I would say a 30-second video to get started in the platform. You can have them click buttons for walkthroughs to take them to start completing tasks or contact their hot leads, or even start organizing their leads to know where to go within any platform. Again, they know it's for them, and they know that by, looking at contacts and finding the hot leads that they'll be more successful. So there's a much higher sense of engagement there. And of course, here's another example of featuring high performers and adopters. I don't know if anyone, this isn't my journey to be a seller, but doesn't my name look beautiful? Like, doesn't my face look great? My name looks great. Like, I want to be on the screen shown to be a high performer. So it was really great to have a platform where we were able to just like put up in people's screens that so-and-so was the highest performer. Here's how they did it. Here's how they closed, 14 appointments. And one thing I'd like to call out is any sort of training, I feel like, is a real sense of change management. And if you're familiar with ADKAR, awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement, I'm not allowed to do this, of course, but I'd like to add that extra R for, I forgot what the R was. Hold on, it just like went out of my head, but it's where you promote people. Oh my gosh, it's not reinforcement. Anyway,
recognition.
Recognition is the last
I'm here for you, Steffaney.
When your mind just goes blank, it just went blank there. But adding that extra level of recognition to help people go through this change and to help them perform at the top level is a huge component, especially in sales. And then, of course, I don't want to forget about leaders and managers. So make sure that whenever you're creating content, you're creating this to help your sellers sell better, but don't forget about the leaders. Create content that's specifically for them. Here you can see that we have options. Again, kind of choose your own adventure. Like, they can renew the standards of excellence if they want. They can view their coaching plan, identify struggling reps, or even become an all-star and create new ways of reaching out to customers. So with any sales enablement program, having a leadership strategy is just as important. And that was a lot. But I really appreciate being able to be here today. I'm so excited to answer any questions. Please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, connect with me. I love following people. I think on LinkedIn, they give you only the option to follow, but please don't just follow. Please connect with me, because I'd really love to follow your journey in sales enablement or learning and development, wherever you sit.
I love it. Steffaney, so, there were a bunch of comments because I know you were sharing your screen. So I've killed your sharing, which Gideon, I'm going to bring you back up on stage here because we're going to do some magic in a second. But there were a lot of folks that I think this really translated how microlearning fits. And I think one of the terms we hear a lot right now is this concept of an ecosystem and the learner experience. And sometimes that can feel very ethereal and disconnected. And I think what you shared is this is how these things all fit together to say it's not one or the other. We said earlier in the show, like, it's not about just one box and then move it to this box. It's saying we have this component of micro learning that we need to inject, and we need it to reach people at this specific point in time while they're doing work versus pulling them out of their task and asking them to go do it. And I think you really illustrated well how that ecosystem of technology works together to improve the learner experience and actually get flow of work learning. I said legit. It's legit, and you can totally do it.
I agree. I just want to get people excited and to think, how can I upskill myself? You're honestly here at a microlearning conference. You're wanting to learn more. You're wanting to get better. Think about how you could maybe translate this to the new workforce in the new flow of work on a screen. How about getting them, making them effective and not taking them off the field for selling, not taking them out of their field work, but really helping them be successful right where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate, can we get like a whole sea of emojis here for Steffaney for that one? I think, again, it was a great concept in terms of tying microlearning into your bigger learning strategy and how we can actually drive performance in a meaningful way, which is really what we're here to do. So thank you for that.